welcome back. Studio number 310-441-0555. Let's go to a caller now. Radio Hamra, you're on the air.
Hello.
Hello, hi, thanks
I'm
for
on
calling.
the air.
Yes, thanks for calling.
Okay, hello, Dr. Holakouee. My English is pretty good, but because I'm on the air, so I may speak a little bit slowly.
Okay,
So I'm
that's
calling
all right.
you from Europe. I'm familiar with your father's program for many years, so this is the first time that I'm actually listening and talking to you. I have this honor, and I called you for my relationship problem, my problem with my wife. So I'm 36. I live in the Western Europe. I was married to a girl from Eastern Europe, and we have been separated for almost 4 years now. And so I have a little daughter, actually, with that girl, which the moment that she got pregnant, it was the moment that we got separated. And I saw this little girl just 2-3 times because my ex doesn't want that I have any role in her life. And this is why actually I'm talking to you. I have listened a lot to your father's program to find, kind of a solution. But my case is kind of delicate. And I'm not quite sure what can I do for this child. I feel a lot of guilt. And I learned the language, so I can talk a little bit her language now, and I keep continuing, learning that. But I have this feeling that I will never get this contact with her, and I think you got my idea. So
I got some basics. Yeah. When you say, she doesn't want you to see the child, why does she not want you to see the child?
To be honest, I do not have specific reason now. For two things, she keeps saying different things. First, separation, and the second, my role in the child's life. Each time she changes the answer. Each time that I can talk to her. Once she doesn't like Persian culture. The other day she tells me that she doesn't like that the way that I talk. Another day she says that it's better that she doesn't have any father. So I don't know. Just as a fact, I should tell you that she had a horrible kind of childhood. And, their culture is a little bit different from American, Persian, or, European. So she had a womanizer father, and she got abandoned from the father from the moment that she was born. The father came back to her life a little bit later, but he had always, women around himself, and she actually explained to me when we were together that she was begging actually all the time her father that could you stay with me, and her father abandoned her. This is the word that I was hearing a lot from her. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so I'm supposing the core of that problem is there. I'm supposing.
Well, and it's probably related. Now, let me ask you, what led to your divorce? What led to you and her divorcing?
I don't know. Actually, I was passing end of my PhD at that moment, and suddenly we were wonderful together. And I'm not hallucinating. I'm just telling you the very honest thing. For 4.5 years, we were very good together. For 6 months, we were very difficult. She was actually difficult. She was getting angry, and she was waking up with a mood that I couldn't even understand why you are sad. Always I was asking this question, that why you are sad. And she started to be angry a lot. And when I'm saying angry, I mean it was unbelievably angry. That I was always worried that maybe police will come to us. And then in that moment, I was really thinking about separation because she was really impossible to live with. But I thought that, at the end of the PhD, we have very difficult time, as a student. So after that, we go some trips, everything gonna be calm. And then when she got pregnant, that was by accident that she got pregnant. And 1 week after that, she told me that she wants to go back to her mom and stay there for a while because she's kind of pregnant. And when she went there, she told me that she doesn't want to come back anymore.
And what was she gave you no reasons?
No reason, absolutely. Actually, when she was there also, she was telling me that, we were coming back together. Don't worry, everything gonna be okay. And step by step goes there, and suddenly she told me that she doesn't want to leave me anymore.
Okay. So, there's two aspects that come to my mind. One is from your side. I know you're saying everything was so good. It's possible you were not as aware of how she was feeling, or you were not asking her how she was really doing and giving her that space to tell you. The way you describe is that it came out of nowhere. 4 years, 4.5 years to hide something the way you're describing, or being one way and then changing. To me, it seems a little bit unlikely. More than likely, she was not happy earlier in the relationship. Now, maybe she just didn't show it at all. She didn't give you any indication. Maybe she was disconnected from it herself. Is it possible that all of a sudden she changed so much after 4 years? I think that's less likely to be the case. So there probably was something going on there from her side that you were not aware of, that you thought everything was okay.
I think I'm aware of that, actually.
Okay.
I forgot to tell you that she's super dependent on her mother.
Okay.
And I'll just tell you that, just give you information. I'm sorry.
No, it's fine.
I'm quite stressed and I cannot
You're doing
manage
fine.
my mind maybe a little. When we got separated, her father came to me. I have excellent relationship with her family, and her father came and stayed here with me, and he was asking me questions. He was searching exactly what you are searching now, and he couldn't find that. So for 2 days he was living with me, her father, to understand what's going on. He was asking me, tell me that day, the other day, last year, what happened. And she came back to her country, Ukraine, and then she called me that. He called me that it's her mother, the reason. This is her father's word. And I asked, what does it mean? And he told me that they are dependent, very basic phrases, which I don't understand. And unfortunately, when I'm asking him again, he's just telling me that give up. He doesn't like this conversation, to ask the question. But what I know is that her mother has had a role, and what is that role, I do not know. Maybe she just got, she gave up the fact that she could come back to her country, and that was the moment that she started to, rise again.
Maybe. Now, I'll say something. I could understand you want to talk to her. You're looking for answers because you feel like you have no idea what happened. But the way you described her relationship with her father, I don't know how reliable of a source he's going to be.
He's reliable now.
He's reliable? No, okay.
Now he's now 55. The stories that I'm telling you, it was for, when he was 30. Now he's perfectly stable. Even the fact that I got, for example, 3 times I saw my child, that was based on his effort. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and I'm not saying he's all bad. Maybe he's like really... he could be a good man, and maybe he's changed a lot. But it doesn't seem like he knows his daughter very well, because he wasn't really that involved. And even, if they have a dependent relationship, it probably is partially because he was so out of the picture and so not there. So I'm not saying I can get you're so desperate for any kind of understanding of what's going on, and maybe you talk to him. But it's just being aware of him and the relationship he has with your ex-wife that you're describing, that's something to just be aware of. Now, it could be true. There's a dependent relationship there. It seems unlikely that out of nowhere she just decided to go home because her mom said something after 4 years. I'm a little bit, surprised. Some people during pregnancy, of course, hormones and things can affect how people feel. That does happen in pregnancy, that women can have that experience. So, but what you're describing seems much more extreme than that. It
was actually, even she had, changes it physically. I will tell you 2 examples. First, she was always a tickly person, and during that moment that she changed very, unbelievably, she stopped to be tickly. And first I thought that it was, between us, because she doesn't love me anymore. And when I was there, actually I saw that her mother wanted to do that, and she asked even, that you are not tickly anymore. It was unbelievably changed for me. The other thing is that she never wear any makeup during 5 years that we were together. Never. And during that moment, she started to wear makeup. It was like, very big change for me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It was like I don't know her anymore.
Yeah, that's obviously going to be very scary, and it's not clear to me. As I said, was it really she just totally shifted? Was something starting in her and you were not aware?
My first impression was the multiple personality disorder. To be honest, in this level, she was different.
Yeah. Now the thing is with most multiple personality disorder, which is now usually referred to as dissociative identity disorder, the person doesn't just change like all of a sudden to a totally different person and that's it. They have multiple or these different identities that come out at different times. So I get what you're saying, that it seems like two different people, but that usually is not what is, when we talk about what used to be called multiple personality disorder or dissociative identity disorder, it usually doesn't mean that someone just completely changes into a different person. It means even within a few minutes, they might change into these different personalities. One of them might be like a child, one is like a man, one is a woman. It could be different in a lot of different ways, but that's usually what we're talking about. But I can see that for you, clearly there's a sense of, I don't know this person anymore that I've been living with for years, which must have been shocking. And it's hard for you to know what happened there. Now, because you mentioned the word abandonment a lot, what also can happen sometimes, and I mean, just that it happened after this long is kind of surprising. But anyway, people who are afraid of abandonment, sometimes there's this feeling of, I'm going to leave you before you leave me. So there's this fear of being abandoned that can create so much anxiety and can be so fearful for the person that they can't take it anymore. They'd rather leave, or sometimes they, ruin the relationship. When we talk about things like sabotaging a relationship, it's sometimes because it's too scary that the other person could leave or they could hurt them. So I'm going to hurt you first. So I don't know if because you mentioned abandonment so much, this was something that was there. And there's even this interesting dynamic. Now you have a daughter and her own father abandoned her, and now she's making it so, she's almost forcing this abandonment, almost making it like she has control over the abandonment the daughter has with you. So you're almost getting abandoned. It's like this reversal where the father gets abandoned by the daughter. I don't want to speculate too much.
She's kind of angry and she wants to take kind of revenge on me or something. I don't know.
I mean, there definitely can be that.
Can I tell you one conversation?
Sure.
I'm just giving you the information that they give me. Okay, the truth or false. I just,
of course.
After 2 years, I remember that I got a little bit tired and I talked with her father, and I asked him that, what does she want? I clearly asked this question. What is the question? Money? Hurt me? What is that? I don't care.
Mm-hmm.
And he was silent for 2 minutes, and then he told me that your death. And
your death?
Yes.
Wow.
And I asked, what does it mean even? I just don't understand.
I mean, and before that, so you're saying she was a very loving partner to you before?
She is only angry with me. I have seen her there. She is really lovely. She's a very good mother. She's a hardworking. She's just very, very angry to me.
And she says her, no reason why. She hasn't given you any reason.
No reason. Even I was predicting. I said that, did I say something to you that I bothered you? Did I do something that I'm not aware what I have done? And even if I have done that, I'm sorry. I tell you that I'm sorry, and I'm ready to do something, to make it up for you.
Yeah.
But she never answered that.
She said just no response.
And we had a dog also, and she abandoned the dog also at the same time. We had a dog that it was kind of a child for us,
Yeah.
And it was very I still cannot believe it after 4 years.
Yeah.
I think even you hear it from myself.
No, I can. It seems like you're completely bewildered, puzzled. You have no idea what happened. It's very unclear, and she's given you almost no information or indication as to why this has happened. So it's understandable you're searching, and that's the hard part, is you can try to figure it out, and even I'm sure you're calling me or wanted to talk to someone just to get that understanding that maybe someone else knows. It's going to be hard for anyone to know exactly what happened here. You're saying, was it related to her own father? Was it this? I'm sure those play a huge part in what's going on, but with what you're telling me, I can't say this is why she did that. So it puts you in a very tough position. You might still try to talk to her or see if she'll tell you something, but she might not. Now, right now, did you have any communication or contact with her at this time?
She sent me pictures in average, one picture each 6 months. she doesn't want that I send her money. So till now, each month I could send her money. But even I was asking, kind of, begging, can I send you money because you need with the child, And then she just closed her European bank account, and she doesn't give me her bank account in her country that I can send her money. So I have no connection financially, and that's it. And she doesn't talk. Sometimes she sends me a message. I can say 2 messages per year, something like that.
And what have you more recently communicated to her?
I asked her that you suffered a lot during your childhood, and again, if I bothered you, I am sorry, and I just want that our daughter be more happy. You love her, you do whatever you want, I don't interfere. I just want to be in her life to help her. And for her, I'm a weak person that I'm doing that. She told me, you're very weak. A strong man should abandon the child and go. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
It's so weird for me.
Yeah. Clearly it seems related to what she's been through, and maybe culturally you and her were more different than you realized also, or this is not just a cultural thing, it's much more is going on than that. But I get the sense you maybe didn't know her as well as you thought you did. I know a lot of this came out of nowhere for you, but probably you didn't know her as much as you did. And I think what you're saying makes sense. I didn't know what your intention was. I think you and her being together is not going to make sense no matter what. Is that still something you're hoping for, that she might change and you and her could be together?
At the beginning, I couldn't believe what she's doing, especially that all her around, they were asking her, what are you doing? And they were all, I can say, in my team, I can say. And all of us, we wanted just, the calm situation. I didn't fight at all till now because I knew that, she was pregnant and there is a child. So as your father mentioned, that if you win the fight in the marriage, you will lose everything. So I lost all the fight, I can say, but the child is happy, she's kind of happy. So this is, for me, the most important thing.
Yeah.
But I was waiting that I got an answer, at least, that what's going on. The other thing that I'm still hopeful, and if I'm honest to you, is that I'm seriously thinking to move there. And till now, I didn't move there because I didn't find a job there. You know what I'm saying? It's not, kind of a very active economy there. And so I have this feeling that a big part of that comes from her dependencies with her mother.
It's possible.
And she was kind of...
But look, you and her having a relationship, I would hope you can close that door, that you and your ex-wife being together. I don't think anything is possible. Now, she can have her judgments about what you're doing, but I think just having a relationship with your daughter, I hope you can still, mention that to her. I wouldn't tell her you were hurt a lot as a child anymore or anything like that. I would just tell her that I'd really like to be in my daughter's life as much as is possible. And I want to be.
I do not ask her to get back together at all.
Okay.
Just about the child I talked to.
Yeah.
Can I picture you something and then you give me your idea?
Sure.
But when I was there, I saw that she's very poor, and I knew that her father is very rich, her mother is poor, and she grew up with her mother. Okay? And she didn't have the minimum, and it's very difficult for me to tell you this, in a very calm voice, and it was very painful for me when I saw that, and I knew that she's suffering there. And I made a wonderful day to her, to just for 2 minutes that I can 2 minutes ask a question. That are you sad there? And she told me life is very difficult. And I asked her that, so why you left? You could have much better life. Take care about your mother. Take care about yourself. Take care about your child. Even don't have any relationship with me. And she just was silent. She didn't answer this question. I am searching for something that give me an the indication.
Yeah.
But I don't get it.
Yeah.
Somebody
I don't think she knows.
Her life.
Yeah, I don't think she even knows exactly what's going on. And there could be she's trying to reconnect with her mom. Maybe she does feel bad for her mom. I don't know the details. We don't have to get into their life, but it seems like maybe she felt like her mom was the person she had to take care of. Her dad wasn't there. She's going back to her. But there does seem to be some kind of regression to either childhood or teenage years that were seeing based on what you're telling me, because you have nothing that you can describe that you did or you see happening, and so that's why it's understandable that you feel very, very stuck, and there's not going to be a clear answer. It doesn't seem like that she's ever going to give you, unfortunately. You deserve something to know. First of all, you want to have a relationship with your daughter, and she deserves it more than anything. The daughter deserves to have that. It does definitely seem like her own childhood where her father was not there and she kept wanting him there. Maybe it's that fear that she was afraid of you leaving her and she's afraid of you leaving the daughter. Doesn't mean you have given her any reason to think that, but based on her own past, there could be this intense, extreme fear of abandonment. I'm not going to let what happened to my daughter happen to me. So she just wants you to go away. That's why if you die, that is just off the table. She doesn't have to worry about you being there and leaving in some way. You can just be gone and out of the picture. It seems like she's terrified of this abandonment that she went through and feeling it again, and she doesn't want her daughter to now go through that. But by protecting her, what she thinks is protecting her, she's preventing her from experiencing a lot of things, and unfortunately is likely hurting her very much. And that breaks my heart the most for the daughter, who's going through all that. So the most you can do is try to reach out to her some more and say, I want to be in my daughter's life. I would not try to change her mind anymore about life can be good here, come back here. I mean, you can mention it, but she probably won't make those changes unless she wants to. So I would just focus on if you can have some kind of relationship with her, your daughter, I mean, when I say her, because I don't know what else you can do. It's a very, very painful situation that you're in.
I'm just afraid that after a moment I will lose completely contact, because
Yeah.
if I get close, she will get angry. If I give them some space, they will start a new life. I don't care about that. She marries or something. Just, it will be so different. And
Yeah.
the language, I do not understand. I saw a video of the daughter that she talks. I do not get what she's saying.
And how old is she
I know
now?
right now a little bit.
Your daughter's
3.
how old now?
It's 3 now.
3? Okay, so this has been like almost 4 years.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
March gonna be 4 years.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's just something that you can only try to be involved in her life as much as she'll let you. It's very sad. And I can imagine it's affected your own life day to day right now. Look, we went way over a commercial break. I want to talk a few more minutes with you at least. So I'm going to put you on hold and we'll wrap up our conversation after the break, okay?
Thank you, doctor.
Okay. All right. We'll be right back. Welcome back. We were with a caller before the break. Let's go back to them now. Caller, are you still there?
Yes, I'm
Okay.
listening to you, doctor.
Thank you. So I just wanted to, as I said, make sure we have a few more minutes to talk because, as I'm hearing your story is very heartbreaking. I also know there's not much I can tell you as far as understanding exactly what's going on with her. Some of the things I did share with you that it seems, as you yourself are aware, that what she went through in her own childhood is having a big impact on what's happening now. And I think this theme of abandonment, you said she used that word a lot, it's this fear of abandonment, and so she's trying to take control of the situation herself. And this time she's the one abandoning, and it's very unfair to you to have to go through that, but it seems like that's unfortunately the reality you have right now. Also tell me what's going on in your life since then. As I mentioned, I'm sure you're preoccupied a lot with what's happening with her and your daughter, but what have you been doing since she has been gone in your own life? I know you said you were finishing up your education when these things were happening.
I didn't finish my PhD. It was exactly 2 months before my defense that this happened, and it changed everything. So my life was kind of, to be honest, hell and paradise at the same time. It's so easy for me to make myself happy. So your father always proposes to make ourselves, busy with good stuff, but education, learning, and these kind of things, sport, good friends. So I make myself as busy as possible, but I can tell you that there is not even one night that I don't ask God if it exists, that I do not see the morning. Because I cannot explain to you the pain that I'm going through. I just can tell you that it's very painful, So I kept continuing working. I tried to orient myself instead of research to, kind of programming, because I can find a job there in her country. And I learned very seriously her language. And what breaks my heart is that I cannot progress as I want. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's so sad to have another language with your own person. I never actually saw a person that doesn't have the same language with his or her child.
Yeah, I mean, this is a very extreme. Sometimes it happens where one of the parents is bilingual, so the child learns like some words or learns some of one language, but also speaks the other one. But you're right, this is much more extreme. And it's tough for me to say don't keep pursuing this, because it does seem like in some ways your life has been frozen by what's going on. That, going on into your own life, it's not so clear because you're thinking of moving to this country or figuring out what to do there. And I can't blame you for that. It makes sense. I do also want you to be aware when you say, yes, keeping yourself busy is good, but busy doesn't mean productive or we're going to be doing the right things. And sometimes when we keep ourselves busy, we actually just do whatever to keep ourselves occupied. And at the same time, as much as the feelings you have are, I'm sure, overwhelmingly painful, avoiding them is not going to be the way you're going to get better or get through this. You probably have to face even more directly the pain that you're going through.
I'm just kind of afraid of facing that.
Okay.
I have this feeling.
Yet I'm sure it is terrifying. Tell me about that.
If I'm very honest to you, how can I say, crystal clear, I can say, is that I do not see another solution that, I die maybe sooner, that this pain finishes, But I'm kind of stuck because at least I can save money for my daughter or prepare myself for her future. And the problem is that I'm not sure about that. If I was sure, I would keep continuing without any problem. So I'm kind of stuck, It's everything is out of my control completely. When I lost my ex, when I lost my child, and then in the end I had to, unfortunately, to lose my dog because for my job I had to go, and I'm kind of alone here, and I didn't have anybody to take care about my dog because for my job I had to move a lot. I lost, I can say, 90% of my life. And it's very difficult when you lose 90% to get again, I don't come from a very loving family also. I'm familiar with your father, so I know what happened to me. And I can say that the only thing that keeps me alive is that maybe one day I can do something to decrease the pain of my daughter.
I mean, that obviously is a very noble approach to your life or goal to have to your life. But as you said, what's so difficult is that you don't even know if you put all this effort and work, you ever will be able to do anything for her, which is sad that even opportunity is not clear if you will have it, which can also make it difficult as you're striving towards that goal. As you're talking about losing control, you don't even have control over whether or not your efforts can result in something. It's like you're drawing up all these plans, but you don't know if you can ever execute any of it. And that itself is tiring. And you're saying 90% of your life was taken away, and I can see that. And unfortunately, when I said frozen, it's like that 10% you're trying to stretch it into a life now, because you're frozen in those aspects of your life. Of even your education got frozen, but then your personal life, it seems like you're putting on hold in some ways. And so what we might have to look at is, what can you take some more control of in your life? She did take a lot of the control over, obviously, your marriage. And marriage, we can't control someone else. They have to want to be in it. But then even your child being allowed to be in her life has been taken from you. So it's important for you to look at what is in your control. Let's say...
Just one sentence I add that
Sure.
I am not even officially father of my child. I just want to tell you I have zero control.
When you say officially,
Absolute
what do
zero.
you mean? Like an
Because
illegal?
she went there in her country and she gave birth, and she put that her father, she doesn't have any father, the daughter. And the basic of the law of her country is that they don't force the mother to come to pass the DNA test. It's not like, this is the base logic. I have 2 advocates there, and for 2 years I tried, thousands of euros. And so I have zero control. Wow. And when I say zero, I'm not exaggerating.
No, it does sound like it. I mean, there's usually the parental legal status is actually very powerful in most countries, but you don't have that, you're saying. So it does leave you with almost nothing. So there is some possibilities. It's not so black and white, but that let's say one. I know it's not even pleasant to hear it that you don't see your daughter and don't get to have her in your life. If that were the case, what do you think you would want to do with your own life when you see your vision for yourself? What would you do?
I feel that I'm gonna cheat on her.
What
This is
is
why
me-
I do not
What do you mean by
have any
cheat on
image
her?
of this
Oh, you mean if you
in
do
my head.
something? What does cheat on her
For
mean?
myself, I do not even think about myself for 4 years. I can tell you very honestly.
Well, that's a problem.
Even because they just have me, I know, people, they say that they hear the story of people that they were abandoned. I was living with one. And from the moment that I'm learning her language, I meet a lot of, these children, and they really helped me to learn this language because they got abandoned and their father, they had no, attempt to get close to them. And they helped me a lot, and I got many friends there in her country because of this. And I hear from them their story. I know what does it mean to grow up in that country without father. I do not have an imagination. I have a clear situation, and even I cannot even buy a cell phone for myself. I have a big problem even to buy a cell phone for myself or go to a trip or something because I'm worried about my daughter. I know that I were there. I saw her situation. I saw that she's in poor situation. I know where is that. And
when you say you don't
I
buy a cell
want to-
phone for yourself, what do you mean? Like you don't want to spend money because you want to save it in case
Nothing. Yeah.
you can give it to her?
I don't care about myself. I'm very clean. I'm working very hard.
Yeah.
I take care about social life, but I think that there is a mask in front of myself. I go to restaurant with friends, but I don't feel good that I'm paying this restaurant because I ask myself that this money could be a clothes for my daughter.
And how are you doing financially? Are you okay or?
No, I'm okay. Yeah, I'm okay. I'm better than okay because I work very hard. I have this imagination, this hope that maybe one day this money can go to my daughter. So I'm very good at. I have a great job, and I work very hard for that.
Well, there's a part of that. It seems like it's motivating you, which can be good in a way. But there's also a way that you're not living your own life at all, which you can only do for so long with no promise that it's actually going to pay off. That's the hard part. People sacrifice and know it's going to pay off, or at least they feel pretty sure about it, or it's more in their control. You're sacrificing and then you don't know if it ever will pay off. What I want to explore with you is, you said your own childhood, you feel like you understand what has happened to you more, but I want us to explore it a little bit more deeply. Maybe you can tell me a bit about that. So we've talked about your wife a lot, or your ex-wife a lot, and also related to your daughter. But understanding you better will be helpful for me too, and maybe I can understand you better. So we're going to take another commercial break, but after the break, we're going to talk a bit more about your own childhood and family, how that's impacted you. And as I said, we want to try to figure out what can you do for your future that is more in your control, because there has to be something that you can see for yourself. Okay, so we're going to put you on hold. We'll talk after the break, okay?
Thank you, doctor, for giving me.
My pleasure. All right, we'll be right back. Welcome back. We were with a caller. Let's go back to them now. Caller, are you still there?
Yes, doctor, I'm listening to you.
Oh, thank you. As I mentioned before the break, I thought it might be a good idea you alluded to your own childhood and that you feel like you've understand what you've been through, the damages or the pains that you went through. But I want to hear it from you so I can understand yourself more, because we were trying to figure out what you can do for your life going forward as well. And as you know, understanding your past will be important for that. So tell me a bit about your own childhood and what you understand from it.
I have a very good and clear memory of my childhood, and what I remember, everything was very bad. The parents always fighting. Nobody loved anybody. And they never loved us, me and my brother. I have a twin brother. And everything was very bad, and we were kind of different from other people because they were kind of happy, and I never felt happiness. What does it mean? And to be honest, till now I never missed my home. I remember when I was a child and I was going out, and the party was finishing and we had to go home. I was very sad. I didn't want to go home. And one of the stuff that I really like my ex is that we create a home finally. I heard that people, they talk about that. in the movies, in the books, but I never felt that. But with my ex, I understood what does it mean to have a home. Maybe for people is normal because they take it for granted, but I never felt that. And I read recently the book, Reinventing Your Life. I'm quite sure you are familiar with that. And he talks about, life traps that you have. I think I have all of them, just, 2, 3 of them, like, dependency or these kind of things that based on the questions I didn't have. So I had all of them. So I can honestly tell you that besides, my youth and my health, which I'm very grateful to that, the only thing that I had in my life was great friends. That they helped me to study better, to feel the life, to find a social life, and still I'm in contact with them, and I love them more than my brother and my ex. These two, they were the only chances that I had in my life.
Well, I mean, I'm glad you still have the friends. Your ex, it does seem like it's at least very complicated. If there's going to be a future, it probably won't be a very close one. If hopefully it'll be just in some way you can have a relationship with your daughter. When you're mentioning your family, you said no love. Was there abuse, or was there anything in that way, whether it's physical abuse or emotional abuse?
It was abandoning abuse. For example, they left us at home and they were going out, or we had parties, when you're growing up in Iran, sometimes you go to villages, for this is the oldest memory that I have in my head. You go to villages for, marriage ceremony, and they put us somewhere with some kind of kids that I didn't know them, with an old woman, and I was very old, very young. I think maybe I was 4 and a half, something like this. And I woke up and I was very afraid. I cried for my father, and I went there and my father was shouting at me that why you came here, why you brought him, put him back, and I was lost. The image that I have from my childhood is a child that is searching for help. This is the image that I have from my child. And I remember my mother didn't like to cook, so when I feel hungry, I remember when I was at home in child. For me, because I was always asking her, could you please cook? Could you please cook a little bit faster? Could we have dinner? It's a memory that it's very painful.
Yeah. So you had a very deprived childhood. You said abandonment in your own way. Even though they were around, you felt that you were not loved or you were not seen. And now you're saying with your ex-wife, you felt like you found a home. When you first met, so tell me about when you got together with her. My first, well, I'll let you tell me.
Just one sentence.
Yes.
Tell me, sorry.
No, go ahead.
Just one sentence is that why I'm very sad about this daughter is that I remember exactly the day that I was with my brother, and my father was very angry and he left the home. My mother was crying in another room, and I promised my brother, I say that if I got a father, I will be a perfect father, and if you give me the chance to be uncle of your child, I will be the best uncle. And I just failed. You know what I'm saying? My daughter will have maybe a worse life than even I had, and it's unbelievably painful for me. It's like a failure, absolute failure.
Well, I can see you had that desire, which is a good one, to be a good father to her, to any child you would have. But this failure, it's not that you have an opportunity and you failed. You weren't given the opportunity. It's a very unique circumstance. But it seems clearly like you're blaming yourself. So how do you blame yourself for what's going on?
I made her pregnant.
Okay.
I made her pregnant in the moment that we weren't good. So this is not something that I can forget. I should take the responsibility for that. So with that mistake, even she made all the bad stuff, I understand, but I could be more careful maybe in that moment. I could be more aware. Don't play with the future of a human being, I cannot accept this.
Yeah, I can there is some level, obviously you are responsible in that way, but I think to blame yourself so much for when you were with your wife, yes, you have problems, and even it could have been some level, well, maybe if we have a child, things will get better, or maybe that'll make us more committed if you already felt like you were losing her in some way. It wouldn't be a good reason, But there could have been a lot of influences that were pushing you towards having a child too, or being okay, as you're saying, risking or playing with fate and seeing what happens. You might have been more open to that risk because you were thinking it could help the marriage in some way. Even unconsciously, you might have been drawn towards that. So as I'm saying, it's not a good reason or a good decision at all, but I could see that there was a lot of things that might have pushed you towards, well, maybe we can have a child, or maybe at least I can have a child. If I'm losing her, I can have a child that I can be with or have or can take care of. Sadly, she took away that opportunity for you. But I think to call yourself a failure that your wife got pregnant and that you got her pregnant, it's a pretty strong judgment to put on yourself. And you're doing everything you can to try to be there for your daughter, but she won't allow it for you, which is very, very painful. But I think it's unfair to blame yourself for that or consider yourself a failure.
I think it's kind of my life trap, because I feel always that I'm worthless, and I'm supposing that I have done something that I don't deserve anything. If I had that, my wife couldn't live. If I had, always this thing coming to me, so
Yeah.
I blame myself for everything.
Well, yeah, and unfortunately, I'm glad you know your childhood and how bad it was, but even if we can understand it, it doesn't mean it changes how we feel about ourselves as a result of what happened in our childhood. So clearly, I'm sure you know that these feelings of not being lovable or even related to self-esteem or how you see yourself are very much impacted and imprinted in your early childhood experiences. And so as you described it yourself, they were very, very bad. So we can understand that your feeling about yourself, unfortunately, is not very good or has that quality of being negative and judgmental towards yourself. In a logical way, can you at least see that part, that a lot of what you feel about yourself is going to be related to what happened to you in your childhood?
The problem is that I'm completely aware about that. The problem is that the reality that I see, it's possible that is a little bit different from the reality that maybe you see or logic maybe sees. Maybe a part of that comes from the fact that for more than 10 years I'm living in Western Europe, and it's very difficult when your name is not their name, and it's so painful sometimes the stuff that they tell you, even you're aware that they are just 2% of them or 3% of them. The fact is that I believe, and I sincerely believe, that the life is full of having and not having. And unfortunately, for many things, I have lost the stuff because I did not have certain things. Can I give you one example?
Sure.
Very fast? I got old and I still couldn't drive. I'm just right now doing the last thing. Why? Normally, it's a very strange thing. The fact is that my father never let me, and 90% of people, they learn with the father's car, something like that, but he never let me. And then I grew up in another country, passing education. I never had this chance and time and situation to pass that, and it became a disaster. And you have no idea that how much is painful on my shoulder. And I have this as an example for many, many things. I remember even that my ex always was telling me that, oh, you don't have any family here, I'm getting bored, I want to go there. And it was not my fault, I didn't have good relationship with my parents, and she was blaming me for that I'm bored, I want that we go there, and say that I don't love them, I don't want to see them, we can go with friends or something, but she was blaming that for me. But it was out of my control. So I can just tell you there are some stuff that I do not have, which forcing me to feel like this, that if I had them, life would be a little bit better.
That's
But
true.
I do not have them,
yeah.
and I have to I have to stick with this little life that I have.
You're right. There's a lot of things that are out of our control, especially in childhood, completely out of our control. Even as we continue life, not everything, a lot of things will always be out of our control. But I do want you to look at maybe there's things that are more in your control than you are realizing. Like the driving, I don't know all the details, but when you're telling me these days, in these last 4 years, let's say, what has prevented you from driving, I'm guessing some of it is anxiety too, that you're...
No, it was just because I had to pay, each year 10,000, 20,000, or, advocates, so I didn't have any money for that.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
I see. Well, this is where I would want you to look at what can you do, when I talk about what can you do in your control, I would say, of course, keep working, doing those things that you're doing, but we have to look at what can you do in your own life. Again, it's not to deny or ignore what's happening there, because you can't ignore it. It's on your mind all the time. But what can you do in your own life to take some more control of what is in your control? So the way your wife is being, you can try to reach out, interact with them. But the fact that your whole life is on pause without a guarantee that something is going to happen, it is not going to help you. And I hope you can realize you deserve to feel good about your life. As you were saying before, of buying yourself something, or it's doing certain things for yourself is very difficult. Well, that's something that we have to try to shift, of doing more for yourself, just for you, that you're allowed to enjoy life and continue your life. And it's been a while. At the beginning, I think you said are you 36 years old?
Yes.
Okay, so I want you to see that your life is still, however many years, I can't tell you obviously, but you can have many decades of life left. And I wouldn't want you to get frozen in this part of your life. In some ways, you're also frozen from your childhood and what happened there. As for all of us, it's going to continue to affect us. But you have to also look at what can you do now. And you're not going to stop thinking about the situation, but at some level, you're not going to get an answer exactly as to why, unless she might tell you. And now, even if she tells you some things, I don't know if she fully understands what happened to her to tell you, this is why I did this. So that's, that part to me it matters, but we're not going to get it. It's not because you're just bad and unlovable and this makes sense that she did this. So there's no explanation from your standpoint that you caused this, but it is your reality. And so being that this is your reality, I want you really to focus on, what can I do for my life? What can I do for myself? What can my future look like? If it's a very sad reality that might be there, I can't be involved in my daughter's life. What do I want my life to look like? And as I ask you that, what comes to your mind of what you would want to have for yourself in your life? I mean, even it's not either or, even if your daughter is in some way in your life, you need to look at this. But I just want you to focus on, when we don't think about that part, if we think of that as out of your control, with what is in your control and what you can change, what would you like to see in your life?
To be honest, I didn't think about that, but if right now, without thinking, I could say that if I could be a father again,
Okay.
a real father, I think I would be very happy. I think.
Yeah, and maybe before that, I think it's sad you're not giving that opportunity with your daughter, but yes, and being in a relationship and again, living your own life. You deserve that yourself, and no one is really benefiting by you not doing that, by you not taking care of yourself or giving yourself more. It seems like you do have this feeling that sacrificing is your, you feel very good about that because you're used to that in some way, but no one is benefiting from that. You deserve to live more of your own life. And even the way you say, I really haven't thought about it much, or you don't think about it much. And I wouldn't want you to just have a child to make up for your daughter. It has to be in the right circumstance, and think about what's pushing you towards that. But it's a very sad situation. I'm very sad for you. I'm most sad for your daughter. But I'm very sad for you as well. But I would hope that because I'm talking to you and because you can have this influence and control, or at least a big control in your life, that you focus on, how can I live a life that's more meaningful and fulfilling for me? What can I start doing now that is in my control, rather than just the waiting that is all I can do right now when it comes to that situation.
Okay, thanks a lot. I took a lot of your time. The only last question, do you have any book to propose me to? Because I know in your podcast sometimes you talk about books.
Yeah.
I ask you that one book if you propose me to read.
I don't know if I can say one book that, in what would you want help with, if you're saying a book that would help you with what?
To stop sacrificing.
That's That's a tough one. I don't know. I mean, there's lots of books on that
I
type
don't
of
want
topic.
to waste your
No,
time.
you're not. You haven't. You're not wasting my time at all. And I wish I had a better answer for that. There are lots of books, but also for you, with what you've experienced, books are a way of getting away from the actual doing of it as well. So it's going to be you doing a lot of things that make you uncomfortable. A book might help you understand it better and connect to it. Obviously, I love reading books myself. So I'm not saying don't look for that, but also don't wait for the book that's going to guide you. You know, you're going to guide yourself through this a lot as well. And I really do wish you the best. I'm very sad about your situation. I hope you do get to have a chance to have a relationship with your daughter. But even, more in your control is what you can do for yourself. And I wish you the best in figuring that out and giving yourself more life that you want. And I wish you all the best. But I appreciate you calling in.
Thanks a lot, Doctor. It was a pleasure to talking
Likewise,
with you.
I'm very
Thanks
happy
a lot
to
for the
speak with
time
you.
that you put for for us, the people.
It's
Have a
my
nice
pleasure. I am honored to get to talk to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Take
Goodbye.
care. Bye-bye. Okay, let's go to a commercial break. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Let's go to another caller. Radio Hamra, you're on the air.
Hello.
Hello. Hi. Thanks for calling.
Hi, Dr. Farid.
Hi. Nice to speak with you.
To talk to you.
Likewise.
So, I want to talk to you about my grandchild, which is 4 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And her parents, actually her mom. So she went to school beginning of August. It's about 2 months and a half. And also she went to gymnastic class, and she was happy with both schools. But last week she complained about gymnastic class and said some child bully me, laugh at me, and I don't want to go anymore. And the problem is in the gym class, they put together 4 years old and older children. The older one bully her.
Mm-hmm.
So my question to you is, should they went her to gymnastic class by force or not?
So definitely not by force, but definitely I wouldn't say just pull her from the class either. So I would want this opportunity to be used, as hopefully all of them are. Of course, we're looking at what's good for the child, but often what's best for the child is how does a child grow, not just what hurts or doesn't hurt. So we definitely want to hear her that she said, I don't want to go, and this child is bullying me. So first things first, I would want to somehow show her and tell her that we appreciate, this is more from the parents, so I know you're calling and you're involved in the child's life, but really the parents are going to have more of these conversations. But I hope the parents can let her know that we really appreciate, thank you, we're proud of you that you told us what's happening in your life. Because we want to always give our kids the message that they can share anything with us. So, sometimes parents, of course, they can have a strong reaction. Maybe they get mad about this kind of a situation at the kid. They get freaked out, or they just focus on, no, it's okay, or whatever they're going to do. But we really want to show the child that telling us was really something that we appreciate, and you can always tell us anything. So that's the first thing that I think is very important. Now, the next thing is I wouldn't want to just jump to the conclusion of pulling her from the class. So I'm not saying force her, but as I said, I don't see it as black and white to just take her out of the class immediately, because we can also use this as an opportunity for her to possibly resolve this issue. Now, more than likely, especially because it's an older child, she's going to need some support. So they can try to figure out how to make that work, or can they talk with this child and your child, not in just a way of punishing that child. If the child was indeed bullying your grandchild, that's not okay. So I'm not saying we don't have even possibly a consequence, but it's trying to see if we can resolve this issue. Because what we don't want is for a few things. One is that your granddaughter learns to just get away from conflict, because sometimes we have to be willing to face what's happening in front of us. And then the other thing is that we want to make sure that she learns that, even gymnastics, she doesn't get discouraged from doing activities that, that she has to interact with people. So I wouldn't say force. And so it's not just, okay, you have to go to class, forget about it. Or, sometimes parents will say things like, who cares what someone says? You have to just deal, just don't worry about what they say. We want to hear her, first of all, as I said, acknowledge her and commend her for sharing, and then try to address the issue with her and see, what can we do? Can we resolve this first and try to make it work? And yes, she's younger and this child is older, so she's going to need a lot of support. But I hope that the approach will be more, how can we help her face this issue rather than just take her away from it?
Sure. The problem is, they do not force her. That's why I'm asking you what they can do. But her father told me she has to go, and we're going to go there and figure out what's going on. 4 or 6 years old child bully each other. So I'm going to tell her whatever you said, sure. And the other question is, she's going to school. I told you it's 2 months and a half. And every morning when she wake up, she cry to get ready. And when they want to wear her clothes, then actually their uniform, she doesn't want to wear anything under the uniform. Her mother forced her, you have to wear. The girl said, my grandchild says, I don't want to wear, over there is hot. I just want to wear my uniform, and I keep wear my jacket all day. I talk to them, don't force her, and we have to talk to Dr. Farid to see what we can do. Okay. My son said, in the class, it's okay, it's warm. But when they go outside, it's cold. We are afraid he gets sick. What they can do, because he cried very badly, to wear their underwear.
And she never had this issue before school?
Sometimes, yes. She wants to wear whatever she wants to wear. But her mother says she is controlling. She has own issues. And she said, now she has to listen to us. If we allow her now to do whatever she wants, later then she doesn't want to listen to us.
Well, I mean, there's some truth to that we don't just, it's tough because we have to listen to our child, but sometimes a child even could be coming from almost you use the word bullying, but they want to control the situation. And sometimes they're expressing a feeling to us, and we want to make sure we hear them. So we want to try to understand where she's coming from. Now, one of the things that came to my mind, it seems like you're saying it's just the underwear just for school. I'm not sure exactly what's going on, but there sometimes children, adults too, but starting in childhood, you'll see they have some sensory issues with touch and clothes. So, you'll have some kids and they'll be like, socks are so itchy, like they can't even handle wearing socks because it bothers them so much. So I don't know if there's any other signs she shows of these things, from feeling certain things or hearing things, that she's very sensitive. Does she show this in any way, that she gets annoyed or irritated easily by either certain things and how they feel or how they sound and things like that?
No, not really.
Okay.
Not really, because all her clothes is cotton. They take care of things, and everything is soft and good, and she never complained about something bother her. She said, just, it's hot. I don't want to wear. more because it's hot.
Okay. And I guess it's a little confusing because if I understood you, you said, she says it's hot, but I'll wear my jacket the whole day.
That's true, because they said outside is cold and you get sick. She said, okay, no worries, I'm gonna wear my jacket.
Okay, well, here she kind of, it seems like she is a pretty smart child. She kind of figured them out because
Very smart.
the underwear had nothing about being cold outside, right? That's not what they were worried about. Because she's right. If you're worried about me being cold outside, I'll wear a jacket. So, and I'm guessing they don't know how to tell her about why they want her to wear the underwear because of her body and maybe that people can see her body. Is that what they're concerned about?
Yes.
Okay. So, as I said, this is where, we talk to our kids and sometimes we think, well, if they're not smart enough, we can just trick them. And they tried to trick her by saying it's about temperature and being cold, but that's not their reasoning. And she's kind of right there. If that's why, then why can't she just wear her jacket, She kind of has a point. So they can talk to her that, this is more, we think it's more proper, or you cover your body in certain ways and certain parts of our body get covered. I'm not sure if this is a power dynamic, if she's having a power struggle with them. It's very odd that specifically she's focusing on this issue of underwear at school as being the reason. They might try to understand where she's coming from or why she's saying that and why is she picking this as the reason to battle with her parents. Maybe she just doesn't like going to school in general. Does she have issues with going to school or separation anxiety?
No, not at all. In the first day, they went in front of school. She just said goodbye. Come back by 3 o'clock to pick me up.
Yeah. Okay. And does she have any siblings?
She has a stepbrother, which he is 16 years old. It's from my daughter-in-law's first marriage.
Okay. Yeah, so there's no other baby or anything in the house.
No.
Yeah. Okay. With this, even again, my mindset of this is not, do we force her or not? That's force I don't like almost ever as a way we approach anything, but especially with our kids. It's not about forcing her. Now, do we just say yes to what she's saying? Not necessarily either. Just like with the gymnastics class, I wouldn't say she doesn't want to go, she never has to go. I wouldn't force her to go, but I'd want to talk to her and see how can we resolve the situation or understand the problem rather than just react to the problem. So with this, I don't like forcing. It's not going to be good in the long run, but they need to talk to her, try to understand what doesn't she like about it. What does she say? She said it's hot?
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
She just said it's hot.
So
And she is. Even during the night, she doesn't want to, they put a blanket, heavy things. She said it's hot.
Yeah. Okay, so maybe she does get hot easily. I don't know if there's anything about her uniform. The temperature is getting cooler. I don't know if that's going to affect these things. But, they're having these power dynamics. And now I also want you to be aware you can give some input. And even you said you're going to call me and I'm going to tell them. I don't think I should be telling them what to do or you should be telling them what to do.
No, actually, her father wanted to talk to you today, but he was very busy with work. With the client, he couldn't call you. I just call you, but for sure he's going to call you.
Okay, he can call me or they can talk to someone that they can, if they want to meet more in a professional type of a setting. I mean, with the calls, it's a shorter type of a communication. But to me, there's bigger issues than just looking at wear the underwear, don't, go to gymnastics or don't. So with the gymnastics class, I would, again, want to make her feel very good that she shared with us how she's feeling and what happened to her and see how can we help her. Not just go there and we're going to complain to the teachers or the coaches and that's it, that why do you put these people together or why does this kid do this? We want to even in some way have her involved with it. I would hope she can talk to the child, that if the child can handle it, having that conversation with her of what happened and maybe even the child apologizes. So it's not again about just we have to force something one way or the other. For me, the class is much more, obviously there's other people involved, about what she's wearing, we want to make her feel like she does have some control, and say, I don't really agree with, we can't let her control us too much. I'm not so worried about that. But I do think we have to have a conversation with her and see what's really driving this. It seems like she really does get hot. It's not all just fake that she's making it up. But if you're saying it's only at school, I don't know. Or is it something about the school uniforms and the material makes her feel uncomfortable? I'm not sure. But I, again, wouldn't look at this as, do we say yes to her? Do we say no to her? And that's the only decision. It's more you have to have a conversation even with her of understanding and seeing, well, is there an alternative, a different kind of even underwear or way that she can dress? Can she wear leggings underneath it? Or I don't know what. You can explore other things. But I don't see it as just a black and white, either make her or let her have her way or force her to wear it. Forcing to me is almost always going to backfire in the long run.
Right. Doctor, she, even at home, she doesn't want to wear that much clothes.
Okay. So it doesn't seem like she's just making something up. Yeah.
Always she doesn't want to wear that much.
Yeah. So it doesn't seem like she's just making up a problem. You know, it seems like she does really have, you know, some issues with how she feels and being warm and temperature. So it's not, that's why I'm saying I wouldn't just say she's trying to, you know, control us, so we can't let her win because she has to know she has to listen to us. I'm not saying just give in to what she's saying immediately, but I would make it more of a conversation about that. So I can't give you a clear answer on she should wear it or she shouldn't. I think it's definitely going to have to be more of a conversation to see how do we find a solution that works about this.
Yeah, Doctor, I have about her wearing question. Every morning they put some clothes on the couch and said, you have to wear this one. She goes to her room and brings something else and says, I want to wear this one.
Yeah, well, I don't agree with... I don't...
They can do.
Well, I mean, I think they should give her more of a choice in what she's going to wear. I don't know why they're saying... Now, if it's a school uniform, they can explain to her even beforehand, this is why you have to do this. Everyone has to wear the same thing at school. You know, that's... You're saying she doesn't want to wear the school uniform, or are you saying on other days?
That's about... No, it's about whatever they want to wear her under the uniform.
Oh, okay.
She doesn't want to wear anything else.
No, I know, but you said they say this and she goes bring something else.
Like what?
No, you said that. You said they put this on the couch and she goes and brings something else.
Oh, no. Whenever she wants to go in the classroom, at school, or anywhere they want to go, her mother wants to wear her whatever my daughter-in-law wants. She doesn't allow her to choose whatever she wants.
But, okay, so look, I think, of course, and I think you already have an opinion on it, and maybe you want me to tell you something so you can go tell the daughter-in-law that she's doing it wrong. So I don't want you to get involved in that way.
She's doing wrong, right?
But no, please listen to what I'm saying. I'm saying it sounds like you want me to agree with you so you can go tell the daughter-in-law that she's wrong. I don't want you to get involved in that way.
I don't want to get involved with her, but I can tell my son.
Yeah, but see, that's still getting... See, I want you to be aware of... This is why even, you know, as a grandparent calling, I always have to be aware of this process that you're the grandparent. So it's not your decision to make on these things, or telling your son to tell your wife that someone else, you know, it gets a little bit messy. So I think you already knew your question before you asked me, or you knew the answer, but you wanted to have...
Doctor, I'm not living with them. I'm never there at morning or whatever. They just told me about the situation and said what we can do. I said, let me talk to Dr. Farid, and then after later, then you have to talk to him by yourself.
Okay.
But
so let them do that. I mean, you know, I wouldn't get too involved until then.
Yeah.
So
it's much better my son call you or whatever.
However they can get involved. But as I'm saying, I wouldn't want you to be the one that gets involved.
No, I don't want to be involved. But my son asked me, for now, what we can do. She cried very hardly.
Yeah. No,
I
that's
said, what was it? But the things I said that she takes her underwear, the extra clothes, go to school, give it to her teacher, and said, if you feel it's cold, and ask her if she can wear.
okay. Now, I mean, again, I even with that, I think you're getting too involved with it. You're giving them suggestions, but I'd let them handle it more.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. So
Okay, doctor.
yeah. So those are some ideas. I hope I speak with them, and we can see what to do. Nice to speak with you.
Okay, for the school I know, but for gymnastics, if they have to take her to the gymnastic class, or is not necessarily because she cried from morning.
Nothing
I
is
don't
necessary.
Want to go to gymnastics
Yeah,
class.
nothing is necessary. But as I said, I think it's worth approaching it, talking to her. We're going to go with you to see what we can do about what happened.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, doctor.
Okay. Nice speaking with you.
Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
Thank you. And my son gonna call you.
Okay. Looking forward to it. Have a great day. Take care. All right. Let's go to our last commercial break. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Let's go to a caller. Radio Hamra, you're on the air.
Hi,
Hi.
are you speaking to me?
Yes, Thanks for calling now.
Hi.
I think you've been on hold for a while, and we only have a few minutes. It's going to be a shorter, maybe just under 10 minutes. So just letting you know. Okay, go ahead.
It's just a general question about relationship. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you okay, yeah.
Basically, I was just getting started on dating again. I'm a single parent that in my, I'm 50 years old, so I'm not in 50s, but one of the criteria I was had in my mind when I was thinking, anytime I think about meeting the right person, was making sure he is a parent as well, and also been married before. I don't know the reason, but I just don't. The only reason I don't know the psychology behind it, but I always thought it would be a better match, even though my children are adult and grown and gone, independent, living their own life. But I was wondering if does it matter for at this age, or when you're looking to meet your life partner, necessarily not to creating family again. And I started speaking to this gentleman that I would like to move forward. But I want to make sure if that's he doesn't have children, he's been married and divorced before. But I wanted to see if I should be open to that or not.
You're saying he was married but no children?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Now,
I'm not a parent, but he's not a parent. Yeah.
Yeah. It's interesting the way you even said it, that my kids are, you said it's a match, but my kids are grown. I mean, we're not looking for a match for your children. It seems like they're in their own life. It's about you. And so you might feel that someone who, two things come to my mind. If they have been married and have kids, you feel like you're more similar. You'll understand each other better. And you might also, understandably well, if a man is in his 50s or 60s and has never been married, that could itself be a possible red flag, or makes you wonder something. So I can understand that part. Having the children might not be necessary. You might want to understand what happened or why they didn't have children in that previous marriage, but I wouldn't see that as necessary.
Okay.
Yeah. So I wouldn't see it as a deal breaker.
Okay. So I always, when I listen to, Dr. Holakouee, your father, or I listen to, all his, different scenarios that they come online. I've been married, I've been divorced, I had my children, they're grown. Not that they're an issue, not that I need somebody to take care of my kids. The reason I mentioned they're grown and adults and they're gone. Mm-hmm. So if there's no effect on them, it's just more as far as being, more compatible and understanding and all that. So I wanted to see if I should even get involved, or no, it's not a deal breaker. It's okay.
Well, what makes you? Yeah. So, what was concerning you? The fact that he doesn't have any children?
Yeah. I was just wondering if we're compatible. It would be good to move forward as someone who, as far as the red flags that always, as far as the personality or character is that why obviously he explains it just didn't happen. His marriage didn't last long, and then he's been in a couple of long-term relationships. But it just never happened. He hasn't been remarried again. And this is the first time I'm considering being with someone that's not. Obviously, he's not going to. At a younger age, we're concerned about if they wanted to be parents in future one day. So I will avoid that. But I'm not. We're in 50s and 60s, so that's not an issue. Him maybe changing his mind one day, but it was more being compatible. That was the only concern that I had.
Yeah, I mean, if he didn't want to be a father, I mean, he's older now. I don't know if that's also part of what you're feeling. Does that affect what kind of a person he is?
Yes,
is he?
good? Yes, you got it.
Okay, so are you wondering if he's like someone who'll be nurturing or caring for someone else, which in this case would be you?
That could be one reason. Yeah, that could be one of the reason I'm feeling. I always felt like it should be only a parent to understand a parent. Only, and also there's a lot in common. Not that we're going to be sitting talking about our children, but he seems to be a nurturing person already. It hasn't even gone that far at all. But I just didn't want to move forward, waste energy or time of anyone. But I was trying to be open.
Yeah.
To
I don't think it's I can't see it as like it's a deal breaker. As I said, I mean, there's things you're being aware of. Obviously, you have to evaluate any person to get to know them. So I think you're wondering, does that affect him because he's never been a parent? Does he know what that's like? Or does he want to be the kind of person that takes care of someone? Are you wondering if he's going to be okay with you being involved with your kids' lives?
No, not the last one.
Okay.
I was just wondering maybe the better question is, if first of all you said it's not a deal breaker, but the number two, what are the red flags we should look into, or what are the right question, or things that I should be looking for into, so someone who hasn't been a parent sometime, you know what I mean? Maybe that's what I should be looking for.
Well, I mean, one is just trying to understand what happened in his life, and I guess he told you he was married and the marriage wasn't very long and they got divorced and he never was married again. But you got to understand what's happening there was just life, the way the things worked out. It was that way, and then he was too old even to have kids. Did he never want to have kids? And doesn't mean that even still would be 100% deal breaker, but you obviously want to understand him more and who he is. But a lot of the things you have to try to know what you're looking for in a partner. You mentioned these very on paper things. Have they been married and have kids? But what kind of a partner are you looking for? What kind of a relationship are you looking for? Do you feel ready for a relationship? Do you want to get married again? I mean, do you have answers for those kinds of questions for yourself?
I do, absolutely, yes. I took enough time, when I went through divorce back in 2005, first of all, raising my children, and then, a lot of time on my own personal growth and getting to know myself better. And I didn't want to commit to something serious, which I wanted serious, but parenting, raising 2 children, 2 daughters, and also getting involved in a meaningful relationship almost wasn't possible at the same time, and having a career. So that's why. But now I am. Yes, I will. For me, it doesn't matter the marriage is literally on paper or not. At this point of our life, at my age, it's more commitment, long-term relationship, meaningful relationship, not necessarily something to grow someone who hopefully grow old. And I'm open to marriage on the paper or just hard commitment. So not necessarily. Well, it's not a deal breaker for me.
How long have you been talking to this person that you mentioned?
Oh, it's very new. I just started dating again because I moved actually states from Texas to California.
So how long has it been?
Oh, it's been literally 3 conversations. Well, we're going to see each other, but I want to make sure before I keep going forward. And it's been very pleasant by far. So,
well, that's good. One thing I would say, I mean, you haven't even met, it seems, so it's early, but pretty early on you can have a conversation just to make sure you're both looking for the same thing. As you said, you're looking for, whether it's on paper marriage or lifelong kind of a commitment. You'd want to make sure the person is looking for that because that's not what everyone is looking for. So that's one thing to be aware of. It's still very new, even now, based on the fact of how much you've talked to him and that you are talking to me. I get the sense you can be anxious and wanting to make sure you're not making any mistakes, and so you might be overly cautious in some ways, and that's something just to be aware of. Not that I'm saying jump into something without thinking, but maybe you're going to be too afraid to start something. But you got to find out if you both want the same things, and then obviously you have to get to know each other to see if you're compatible. But as of that, I wouldn't see it as a red flag. And again, we're I do have to wrap up because we're out of time. But good luck in general, but also good luck with that.
Thank you very much for your help.
All right, nice talking to you. Have a great day.
Likewise, take care too.
All right, bye bye. Okay, thank you to all the callers today, and of course all the listeners, and as always, Ghazaleh here in the studio. You've been listening to In Session with Dr. Farid Holakouee. Have a wonderful day.